In the days immediately following the Capitol coup, I was actually surprised about how many people who really didn't see it coming. I mean, look, people like us, you guys, we saw it. We knew Donald Trump was out of control. We knew the Republicans were in a bubble of hate and conspiracies. I've been seeing it since I started following politics, which is why I've been going after Republicans and their enablers in the Democratic Party. And so, yeah. But it makes you wonder, why didn't anybody else see this coming? Why didn't the media see it coming? Why didn't the Democratic Party see it coming? And why didn't Republicans who are supposedly supposed to be anti-Trump see it coming? Well, a recent op-ed done by Suzanne Collins reveals a lot, although in this case unintentionally. So now the lawmaker from Maine who sits in the Senate Intelligence Committee, so just like kind of soak that in. She's on the Intelligence Committee. She's supposed to have, knowledge, right, of what's going on and a grasp of the reality of things that are happening. Well, apparently that did not happen. In fact, here's what she wrote. Quote, "My first thought was that the Iranians had followed through on their threat to strike the Capitol. But a police officer took over the podium and explained that violent demonstrators had breached the entire perimeter of the Capitol, that we were inside. Several of us pointed out that the doors of the press gallery were unlocked right above us. That tells you how overwhelmed and unprepared the Capitol Police were, although many of them were very courageous." Okay, so I have some thoughts on this. For one Capitol Police officer that faced down a mob by himself was a black Capitol Police officer. The only one that was doing his job that we could see, okay? Like the rest of them, the white ones are like, "Oh no, come on in, let me take selfies with Baked Alaska." Whereas this guy is actually doing his fucking job. But because of course, leave it to black people to save the day, as they usually do, and never get any credit for it. All right, so there's that. But the bigger point here is she thought it was the Iranians. The Iranians. That was her first thought. The Iranians. The country that we have squeezed to death with sanctions after first overthrowing their elected government and instituting a puppet regime that was then replaced by a repressive, fundamentalist, religious Islamist government? Yeah, that Iran. Yeah. In fact, we also, by the way, have been helping, and this is crazy when you think about it, but the United States government has also been helping Saudi Arabia and its Wahhabist Islamic fundamentalist government spread that Wahhabism all over the Middle East. And by the way, the same groups, the Wahhabist extremist groups, are like ISIS. Remember them? Yeah. So it's almost like we've been, pivotal in creating our own problems, or you should say our own justifications for continuing to this war on terror in the Middle East, which is nothing more than a money sink at this point for defense contractors. But yeah, I digress. Not to lose the plot too much, all right? But yeah, that Iran, right? So now Iran, of course, they're a fundamentalist country, and now and then, they make chants called "Death to America." Okay, well, look, despite all that, I actually do believe the government of Iran is actually the rational actor, right? And so, I mean, what does that mean? Well, it means that they're not in there for self-destruction. They don't want to destroy their own government. They don't want to destroy themselves. They do want to exist as a country. And so now, as a rational actor, doing an invasion of a capital of the United States of America would not be a smart idea. In fact, it would be an incredibly dumb idea if your country wants to survive. Because guaranteed, if it were the Iranians, the United States would wipe them out the map. Now, it would be, of course, an incredibly costly, super bloody, disastrous war, which is why I don't want war with Iran, which is why I don't want war with really any country, okay? And so The fact, though, that her first thought went to, I can't believe it's the Iranians, is insane to me. Absolutely insane. And look, the other reason that I can say that they are irrational actors is because, well, look who got a deal with them, Barack Obama. Barack Obama got the nuclear deal. It was an incredibly good deal for us. It gave us unprecedented access to their nuclear facilities and their domestic nuclear program in exchange for the removal of some of the most crippling sanctions on their country. I think that was a good idea. And yet, yes, I know that Iran also sponsors terror, but again, how dumb would they have to be to invade the United States of America? That would be stupid. And yet, stupid is thinking that instead of, instead of heeding the warnings of intelligence, right? Heeding the warnings of, all the people that were talking about how, hey, man, look, there's going to be a problem here on January 6th from right-wingers who are angry, who have been lied to, who have been told the election is stolen. There seems to be a problem here with a president that's inciting, all of this, this anger. There's a problem here. And instead of, actually paying attention to that, she thinks Iranians, what are you going to do? It's the Iranians. No. But it goes to the admission here, and this is what's really important, that people, Republicans like Suzanne Collins, could never believe that their base, white Republicans, could ever be dangerous, could ever put them in danger. And see, that's the problem. That's the thing, okay? They immediately think that, no, the Muslims, they're the real threat, despite the fact that, again, white right-wingers have killed more Americans in America than Islamic terrorists. But yet her mind immediately goes to, must be the brown people, must be Iran, must be the evil Muslimics. And that's Republican 101. Right there. It can't be us. No, it could never be us. We can't take personal responsibility here. I mean, just despite the fact that, of course, that our party and a lot of, officials in our party, our news agencies, Newsmax, OAN, Fox News, and our president has been calling for this, has been sowing the seeds, saying fake news, fake elections are going to steal it for months and months and months. It must be something else. It must be something else. No, it's you. It's you. This is what you built. You built that. This is what people like Suzanne Collins allowed to happen. This is kind of on her, all right? And on her and the rest of these Republicans, okay? And by the way, I point out her because you guys remember the first impeachment of the president, which there's going to be a second, and that should also blow your mind. But she refused to impeach Trump after the first call with Ukraine. Okay, here's what she said about this. Quote, I believe that the president has learned from this case. The president has been impeached. That's a pretty big lesson. Did he learn that lesson? Did he learn that lesson? Obviously not. And see, okay. And so what she doesn't get about Trump and the far right is that, they've never been held to account for their actions, for the things that they and their supporters have done. Not once. Where, of course, Republicans are always like, oh, I can't believe there's a such and such left-wing whatever. Why don't you completely denounce all of that? Why don't you completely denounce BLM? Because there was violence at a BLM protest. Why aren't you denouncing them? Why aren't you denouncing them? All the time. That's all that you hear. But yet, Republicans never denounce anything. There are mass shootings from right-wing, fundamental people that are, conservative, anti-government people. They'll do this. And of course, the right wing's like, what, us? No, we didn't do that. Lone wolf. Or they'll do, yeah, but it was actually the left. It was Antifa. It was the Democrats. It's their fault. They're the violent ones. They're the violent ones. No. Complete and utter bullshit. Their rhetoric is never held to account. They are never held to account. There's no accountability here. None. And also, every time that, one of them supports or spews seditious language or hateful imagery. Nothing is done. They never have any consequences to the things that they do. Every time they unleash war on unsuspecting Middle Eastern countries based on lies, no evidence, no real consequences. The same for war crimes. When they do it, nobody holds white right-wingers accountable. And look, to be fair, nobody holds Democrats accountable when they do war crimes either. I'm just saying. Fair is fair. But again, this is the problem. There's no accountability anymore, especially for people in power. And who happens to be in power the most? White right-wingers. The problem. And I don't know, maybe this next statement is a little bit of a spark of realization to this absolute bullshit. Here's what she said, quote, "I called and texted my closest contact at the White House to urge the president immediately tell the rioters to stop their violence and go home. But President Donald Trump completely undercut that message by repeating his grievances and telling the rioters that he knew how they felt. He knew how they felt. This was terrible, especially since he incited them in the first place." Now, that's what she said, all right? So I say, okay, a little bit of a spark, tiny bit of a spark. But does that mean she's actually going to do anything? It's Suzanne Collins, for God's sakes. Of course she's not going to do anything. She's done absolutely nothing, and she will never do anything. Why? Well, because look at what she's doing now. She is hiding. She is hiding behind process, and she is declining to take a public stance on whether or not Trump should still remain president. I think the guy should be removed immediately. The guy fomented sedition against the country. Insurrection. Yeah, no, he should be gone. He should be gone, impeached, removed today. Now. Get him out. Get him out. But Suzanne Collins, she's got the backbone of a jellyfish. Okay? No courage. Cowardly piece of shit politician. Absolutely. Holy fuck. I mean, such cowardice. But understand that this is peak Republicanism. And also, by the way, this is, she calls herself a moderate, right? The great moderate Suzanne Collins does everything to help the Republican Party, but somehow she's a moderate because every once in a while she'll say something negative against Donald Trump. And therefore, we are supposed to forgive her for everything and marvel at the sane moderation of people like Suzanne Collins. No, fuck that. That's garbage. Bullshit. No, her complete inability to see that her people are the bad people is astounding. But it makes it so that she doesn't have to do anything about it. She doesn't have to do anything about it. She can just ignore it. No. What are you talking about? No, of course not. But she's got no backbone, nothing, no moderate. Even though she doesn't necessarily agree with these actions, it seems like she's more than willing to just ignore what the Republican Party is and what it has become. This is not a one-off. This is not temporary. This is not like, oh, I can't believe Donald Trump took over my party and made it this way. No, this is what your party is, and it's what it always has been. These are real Republican values taken to their logical conclusion. This is who they are, and when people show you who they are, you better fucking listen. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.